We are live.
Yes.
Ma'am.
Okay, so we are live now, and I will start now. Okay. So all the best to everyone. Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Here we are on the platform of Metamorphosis, and today we are here for another enriching session of about teachers, for teachers, and with teachers. And I'm the founder of Metamorphosis, and I don't need to give my bio. Everyone knows about me now. So I take forward the session with amazing speakers, talented and broad-minded, intellectual, inspiring ones. So today, my first speaker of the session is, I would like to invite Prabila Kudwa ma'am to please highlight your views on what is your topic today. Introduce about yourself today. Let the viewers know about you from your own words, ma'am. Take the privilege to come.
Thank you. Now you've given me a wide platform. Where do I begin? It's a long journey into academics. I started as a school teacher and went on to become a teacher in the B.Ed college, moved to the corporate. But once I reached the corporate, initially it was all hunky-dory. Then I started having missing school. So I took a downward revision in salary because schools don't pay what the corporates pay. So I took a 40% downward revision in salary and came back to school and continued. I retired on the 31st of March, 2022 as a principal of the school after having worked for 18 years as a principal. So I have worn several hats, and here I am as an innovative educator. I conduct workshops for teachers in schools, and I conduct workshops for students, and I can give motivational talk to the parents. And even if I say so myself, I think I'm a fairly good speaker. What say you? How can you know now? This is called rhetoric.
You
need
look
to
like
ask
Madam Montessori Maria.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you resemble like that.
So now the topic that was given is, are parents and teachers well equipped with the approach to education? I have looked at it from the experience of 40 odd years that I've put into education, and hopefully I'll be able to hold your interest. But before I go ahead with what I have prepared to talk to you about, I want to close your eyes, sit back, relax, and think for a moment your favorite school teacher. When you're ready, you can put the hands up sign on the monitor. Lalit, are you also ready? Okay, Lalit is not there. Fine. So what is your memories of your teacher? Khushbu?
So I don't have any favorite teacher because my schooling was not very much empathetic in terms of what I really want, but I have a very ideal person who is a teacher to others, and when I see her, I feel so great in myself, and which is I say she's Geeta Ma. I always want to be like her because the warmth, the care she gives to the students she have. So when I closed my eye, I saw Geeta Ma in my eyes, and I was feeling so much love in myself also.
Interesting. Yeah. Madhuri?
Yeah, ma'am, when I was small, I had a class teacher. She was Savita ma'am, Savita Nair ma'am. And for continuous 4 years, I had that class teacher. She was only my class teacher. And I liked her very much. She was my favorite only because she was first of all, she was very beautiful, fair, and she was dedicating a lot over the students. And continuously for 5 years, when she taught me, her personality was imbibed in me. And that time I thought, and I just made like I have to become a teacher only because she was my role model. And even I am in the teaching field only because of her, Savitha Nair madam.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So Kushbu was talking about warmth and love and care, and you're talking about beauty and personality. Okay. What about
Dedication.
you? Sunita?
Dedication
Yeah,
also.
dedication.
Yeah.
What about you, Sunita?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to share about one teacher who was, she used to be so careful about our, whether I understood or not. She never used to proceed her lesson. Before that, she used to always ask everyone, whether the lesson is understood or not. She used to take care of children so nicely. I mean, so affectionate she was. And I still remember, and somewhere, I connect her. And I still today, when I go to the classes, when I, interacting with the students, when I give training to the teachers also, I see the same thing, that aura of that teacher was such a brilliant. I mean, I used to connect, and a lot of affection she used to give. Before proceeding every lesson, she always used to confirm that everyone has understood or not. So that I really used to like about her.
Is my network? Yeah, 1 minute. Is my network poor? Yes, I think I may have to change it. Anyway, we'll see. What about you, Richa?
Ma'am, I would say that as my topic is also a healthy relationship between student and teacher, so I've already included 3 examples of my favorite teachers. But right now, I'll talk about another teacher who happened to be my school Hindi teacher. So she used to teach Gujarati as well as Hindi, and my favorite moment with her was like I was good enough in every subject, so I was the topper of my class. But what made me realize to work on myself more during my pre-board exam. So she actually, I used to go for elocutions a lot. So I was not experienced in Hindi elocution, Hindi Bhashan Pratiyogita. So she helped me with my speech, and that time I got 5 claps in 5 minutes of speech, and I was like mesmerized by what she has given me content and how she taught me to write my speeches. So I always, whenever I'm presenting something, I always consider her, like, in my memory, and then I proceed. So this is one of the beautiful moments I have.
So now from 4 people, you want to say something?
For me, it is like I was in a convent educated school for 13 years. So I've been born and brought up in that convent educated system, which we had community living, moral values, and which are still there with me now as I'm traveling the journey of an educator, taking all the educators with me in the journey to bring a change in the current scenario. So I think so far I've been lucky, but yes, memories are not there because it's been a long time now. I think it's around more than 27 years now of my schooling. So I myself have an experience of 27 years now of teaching. So this is, I think convent education instills the value of culture, and which is missing now in today's generation. And that is what we all are striving to create.
True. Now, what is interesting was
Yes.
the 4 of you gave me a reply, and nobody said how she gave excellent lessons. She gave she had like good lesson plans.
Yes. Excellent.
But what came out was the care, the affection. These things came out. So to my mind, what the teacher needs to do is have 3 C's: care, compassion, and commitment. These 3 C's go to define a teacher. Yes, if the teacher is beautiful, everybody keeps looking at her. I have written a book called From Crust to Core, The Alchemy of Teaching. And I have got one chapter there where I have defined the teachers, put them under different categories, and students also under different categories. So if you get the time, just read it. It's fun. So if there is a beautiful teacher, what do the students do? They look at the teacher. There is absolute discipline and care because they're only looking at the teacher and not listening to what she's saying, which can also happen. But in your case, Madhuri, it's slightly different. I'm talking about the teenagers. Anyway, so now education, it's not just academic qualification. Education is something beyond that. Now, the teachers have to make them into thinking citizens, global citizens, independent thinker, develop critical thinking, develop problem solving, and make them good human beings. We all have our favorite teachers, and sometimes it is also that the favorite teacher has influenced us to take up a particular profession, as Kushbu said. So that is the influence of a teacher. But if all teachers were to do that, then the school management has to chip in. If the school management gives them the directive, if the school management is able to train them, only then can we have all the teachers walking the same path. Otherwise, it's not going to be easy. Now, I'll be going on talking about the present situation and also what it was earlier. Earlier, when there was a call from school to say, please come and meet us, the father would call the son and say, क्या किया तूने? तूने कुछ किया होगा. नहीं तो टीचर नहीं बुलाती. Isn't it? But what is it today? अरे ये टीचर ने क्यों बुलाया? क्या हो गया टीचर को? टीचर को कुछ हो गया. अपने बच्चे को नहीं. The things are changing. So those days we had a sense of trust. The trust in school was so much that nothing could have gone wrong. They used the cane, which was still acceptable to the parents. Nobody questioned because there was a sense of trust. The identity and self-concept of the child has to be developed by both the school and the home. The identity can be self-identity. It can be social identity. Now we give the children an identity by making them wear the uniform. Arey, that child belongs to my school. See the uniform? There is that feeling. From there, it moves on to the city, it moves on to the state, it moves on to the country. But before all that, we identify ourselves with the men in blue. You know who I'm referring to when I say men in blue, the cricket team. Cricket comes first, then comes nation. At least in India, everything comes to a stop when there is an important match going on. So identity and self-concept are to be owned by both the school and the home together. Now NEP is roping in the home, so the parents cannot say I've got work to do and I cannot take care of my child, because home is a part of the growth of the child. Parenting styles are very important. There can be 3 types of parenting styles. I don't want to go into the details. One is authoritarian, other is authoritative, and third is laissez-faire. Now what happens is, if your child is brought up in an authoritarian environment, in all probability, a stage will come when the child will rebel. Because every time it is, main bol rahi hu, tum karo. This is not acceptable, that is not acceptable. There is a framework of rules. So particularly a teenager will rebel. But if it is a laissez-faire, that child knows no rules. The child will do what they want. Now, the best is the authoritative. Now, this child will know how to behave. But at the same time, indulgence and pampering are to be avoided. I have a classic example here. There was these parents were woken up by the police at 3 in the morning. The reason was their son, who didn't have a license, had taken the car keys and he had gone out with his friends for a drive and met with a huge accident. Now, the parents were shocked. They thought the child was asleep. So somewhere the parents also need to have control over the discipline of the child. The school cannot go home. I've got two examples from movies. I think somewhere Bollywood has a lot to say about the behavior and the culture of the organization. I mean, the country per se. I don't know if you watched Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway. Okay. Now, Mrs. Chatterjee is a loving and a caring mother. She loves her children. There is no doubt on that. But she lacks the social skills. She doesn't know how to speak when she's in the court. She doesn't know how to speak in public. She goes and kidnaps her own children when the court had taken them, knowing that she's breaking the law of the land. Poor social intelligence. She let her heart rule over the head. The love for the children was so much that nothing else seemed important. Now, another example I have is that of Ursula Burns. This lady lived with her mother and her 7 siblings because the father had deserted them. And they lived in penury. She wore hand-me-down clothes, and the lifestyle was such that she hoped and prayed that one day she would get over it. And finally, on a Saturday, every Saturday, the family will get together, bond. They would discuss what happened in the week, what were the good things that happened in the week, and sing. Finally, Ursula went on to become the CEO of Xerox. In both these examples that I've given you, there is one thing common. They had the grit and the perseverance to pursue the goal. They didn't give it up. Mrs. Chatterjee fought tooth and nail to get her children back, and Ursula fought her poor living conditions and went on to become the CEO of a reputed company. So what we need to also tell the children is to take challenges. I think yesterday I was talking about we don't teach the children about failures. Now we also need to teach them to take up challenges. Only when they take up challenges will the growth mindset come into play, not otherwise. Now, professional ethics, it involves honesty and integrity. Now, the teachers have to rise above favoritism. Teacher may be giving tuitions to some children, but the teacher cannot show the question paper, nor can she give them some hints. It's not easy, but the teachers need to do that. So to get over it, the best would be not to give tuitions to your school children. Not to give tuitions at all is something which I would recommend. But if you have to, avoid giving tuitions to your school children. Then this dilemma you would have overcome. But this is one side of the story. During COVID, we gave a lot of online exams. What did the parents do? They permitted their children to copy. Isn't it? So what we need to remember is, as teachers and as parents, we have to be role models for our children. It is very critical. Now, at this point on professional ethics, I must bring to mind the Tata Group. The Tata Group, I believe, never goes to the top B schools to hire. They always go to B2 towns. And their selection criteria is not on the marks that you have got. It is on the value system and your personality. That is exactly why when the terrorists struck Taj, the Taj employees although they could escape, stayed on there. And the general manager, whose family was killed by the terrorist, continued to work till the next afternoon before he informed his father. His father, who was the general, recording stopped, I believe. The father, who was the general, told him, stay on the job, son, don't leave it. That is integrity. Rats are the ones which leave the ship when the ship is sinking first. They leave the ship first. Captain is the one who needs to leave last. Now, needs of the children and their nature is not what it was earlier. Earlier, when the daddy came home in the evening, the children had to just sit down and play or do whatever they are doing. The attitude was that children can be seen, but they cannot be heard. पापा आ गए, बात नहीं करना अभी, परेशान मत करना उनको. But today it is not so. Daddy, you will go running. Things are different. Now children have to be given the information in such a way that teacher is not looked upon as a storehouse of knowledge. Google does all that now. The teacher has to be a facilitator. Get them to think the way you want them to think. Ask probing questions. Have experiential learning. Collaborative learning. Now, don't be under the impression experiential learning, these are all big words. The children in the secondary will do it. The primary children will also do it. Pre-primary will also do it. My senior KG children had made Venn diagram and they would pick up amphibians and put it in the middle. So beautifully they did it. Just a moment. So these are the things that the teacher needs to do. And for that, teacher needs to have a pedagogical content knowledge, a thorough pedagogical content knowledge. That is why the NEP says 50 hours of upskilling. Now, what has happened is, some of the schools, I got a call just about last month, saying that we are going in for recognition. So we have to do at least 2 hours workshop. Are you free? I said, I can't come now. I was to leave for Egypt that very evening. I said, today it's not possible. I can't come. Online karo, madam. I said, okay, online. Online, were all the teachers fully there? No, but it had to be done because the recognition is at stake. If that is the attitude, then NEP, I don't know. This has always been my worry, that vision is excellent, but the mission and the implementation, that is a little problem. Anyway, coming back to this, parents want their children to do better than they did. If I'm a doctor, I want my child to be a super doctor. Fair enough. But sometimes they are not aware of the reality. I can't expect my son to be an A+ grade when he's capable of only getting B. That is why when children have learning disability, parents come and say, "Nahi, madam, wo karega, wo mehnat nahi karta hai, bas." Are we are telling you that child has got learning disability, accept it. So these are some of the problems that we face. And another problem that the teachers faced is helicopter parents. You know what is a helicopter? What does it do? It just goes, stands in one place and goes round and round. Yeah. So these helicopter parents used to hover around the children and see what the teacher is doing. My son put up his hand 40 times and you didn't ask him. That poor teacher has got the share screen and she's got her presentation on the screen. She can't see all the children. But my son put up 40, of course, is an exaggeration. He must have put up at least 10 times, but the teacher didn't give a choice. She didn't give him a chance to answer. Now, we had to face some of these. So the teachers have to be very cautious in dealing with the parents. It's become more important for them to do so. Now, the other day, there was a LinkedIn message that was going through. Children dread the parent-teacher meetings because teachers say anything to the child and the child loses his self-confidence. Now, the point is, there are teachers of different kinds. Some teachers have the social intelligence to say what you want. But if it's Mrs. Chatterjee type, she will not be able to do that. So what the management and the school needs to do is to orient them as to what to say, when, how. You can't tell any parent, no parent wants to hear that my child is not good. That is why I also mentioned earlier, we need to say not yet. So you need to give a sugar-coated bitter pill. Okay. So now, I have, based on the experience that I've had, I've categorized 4 aspects which both teachers and parents need to follow. Social intelligence to know how to deal with individuals. Emotional intelligence to balance the head and the heart. You can't let your heart go away. And you can't let the head do all the thinking. There was this child who was found copying in the class. And the teacher who was doing the invigilation brought him to me. She should have let him complete the paper, signed it there, saying he is continuing the paper, and whatever action had to be taken, we could have taken it later. But she decided to bring him out and take the child to the principal. I asked the child 2 questions. 1, would you like to make a presentation to the assembly saying, these are the drawbacks of copying? Or would you like to give me a letter saying that what you did was a mistake? He chose the latter. And he gave a presentation. He happened to meet me later saying, thank you for that. I've never thought of copying again. So everybody would have thought what I did was probably wrong. I let my heart rule over the head at that particular moment. So there is no one rule that says this is where you let the heart rule, this is where you let the head rule. You need to take it in your stride, customize it. Performance. Give top-class performance and expect the children also to give top according to their ability. Communication intelligence. I go back to Mrs. Chatterjee. She was saying all wrong things. So you need to know what you need to say, when and where. So, and I urge parents not to depend too much on artificial intelligence. Let them do the thinking themselves. Finally, I end with an example, an anecdote, which is metamorphosis. There was this man who was watching the butterfly struggle to come out of the chrysalis, come out of the pupa. He took pity on the butterfly. He cut the pupa and let the butterfly come out. And what does he see? Does he see the same gorgeous creature that he wanted to see? No. He sees the body of the butterfly, but the wings are all shriveled and the butterfly is not even able to fly. The reason is the struggle that the butterfly undergoes to come out of the pupa is what gives strength to the wings. And let us provide that strength to our children and make them come out as successful individuals. Thank you. Thank you, Sonal, for having given me this opportunity.
Wonderful.